2024 was historical for the Madonna Crusaders and the softball diamond. 54 wins out of their 60 games, the highest win total in program history. They make it all the way to the World Series in the deepest playoff run in Madonna softball history as well. 2025 may have some questions, but a lot of key returners, 7 of the 9 in the field, returned to the team that had the unreal offense we saw last year. Sean Massa bringing you the preseason interview for Madonna softball. We'll kick things off with the man at the helm, the head coach, Ronpone. We kick it off with head coach Ronpone. Coach, let's talk about your tenure here and last year. 3 straight 30-win seasons. Last year, 54, the most in program history. Kind of talk to me about that feeling, seeing all of that you guys had successful last year, and if it changes anything for you guys as a program, knowing, hey, the WAC is not our limit anymore. There's so much to accomplish past the conference, past the first round, all the way to the World Series.
Yeah, I don't really think we ever thought that. We always had high goals. The World Series were always where we want to be, right? So, the WAC is kind of just something that's in the way to get there. It's on the way to get there for us. Last year was a special season. We just had a lot of good players here at the same time, and a lot of things went right. Not too many things went wrong all year, and it's a tough thing to do to win 54 games out of 60, and not only that, the games we lost were all tight games too. So, it was a magical year. I remember telling the kids after the last game, after we lost, and I said, "Hey, I know you guys are bummed out, but enjoy this because you may never have a year like that. You know, we will get to the World Series again, but I don't know if you'll ever have a year like that again."
And then a big part of that success was the 4 freshmen that made an all-conference team last year. We'll talk to Reagan Finkbeiner later, but can you kind of talk as a coach about what it was like seeing them step on campus, step on the field, make that impact right away, but also the excitement it brings knowing, hey, I got 3 more years with these 4?
Yeah, it's nice to know that we have a lot more years with those guys. You never know how a freshman's going to come in and what they're going to do. You have some ideas, and we project, and I thought all 3 of them probably did about as well as I thought they could do, which is to their credit. They came in a super competitive situation, and the great thing is not just the 3 freshmen, but all the returners. They've seen everything there is out there in the country as far as softball, all levels. And moving forward, it's not going to phase them. That experience is going to be huge for them.
And then we go to the pitching side of things. Obviously, the departure of Mason Schloud is a tough pill to swallow, but I want to talk about it from the coaching perspective in the offseason. As a staff, you don't just replace Mason Schloud, one of the best pitchers in school history, but talk about the process of trying to figure out what you guys are going to be about in the pitcher's circle heading forward.
Well, it's a lot of it is the pitching. So this game's a big part of its pitching. The nice thing is with our lineup, we're going to score runs and we're going to play great defense. So we don't need to have 15 strikeouts. It was nice. It was nice to have them. It makes it way easier. But just everybody, including the pitchers on our staff and the position players, we all just got to do a little bit more, and we'll be fine. I told the team at the meeting the other day, and in the fall, I'm like, just so you guys know, last year we were 17-1 in games that Mason didn't pitch. So we'll be okay.
Thank you so much, Coach. We got one more for you on deck. I want to talk about the preseason poll. Number 6 in the poll. It's the highest in your tenure. How does that kind of change the mentality or feel as a staff and as a whole program in general with now you got that target on your back. You're no longer really working from the dark, as they like to say. Everyone's got you circled on their schedule.
Yeah, it's a nice honor for the team, and it's cool. It's good for the school and the program. But in reality, it doesn't mean anything. All the work's ahead of us from here, right? We got to prove how good we are, starting in a month. And like I said, it's a super nice honor that we've gotten that national recognition because in the past we haven't gotten a whole lot of respect nationally. But I think we're taking it that way, and I don't think this team's like, oh, we're 6th in the country, we can just roll to the World Series. they want to get back there, and I don't think the rankings matters to them.
Thank you so much, Coach. That's head coach Ron Pizzoni talking about the season. We'll kick things off on the player side of things with the top of the lineup card, Alyssa Gauthier. We move on to the diamond. We start with senior outfielder Alyssa Gauthier. Alyssa, talk to us first. You start as a center fielder. You move over to right field last year with the influx of talent Coach Pizzoni brought in. Kind of talk to me about that transition, both from a you standpoint and really from a sacrificial standpoint to do what's better for the team.
Well, actually, my freshman year I signed as a second baseman, so I've kind of moved around a lot. But my freshman year I also moved to right field. So I played most of my freshman year in right field, which definitely helped a lot transitioning back there last year. But sophomore year in center field, I kind of knew it was coming with Veronica leaving, and I loved it there. And then we talked coming into last year about me moving back to right field just because I had experience over there. And it was a little bit of adjustment, like reading the ball again, coming off that way, but our outfield is so talented. Like, we could all play, I think, any position and get down any ball. So I was personally fine with it. I love it anywhere I can be in the lineup, and I love playing in the outfield. So it was a transition to get back there, but I'm happy where I'm at.
And then we talk about that last season you had. It was a phenomenal season. 415. You had 19 doubles, 7 triples, 5 homers, 52 RBIs. Kind of talk to me about the success both you had as a player on the field that coming together in your junior year and as a team all around the diamond.
Yeah, last year was definitely one for the books. Remember, especially team-wise. My sophomore year was a struggle for me. So coming into last year, I started on a much hotter note, which helped, I think, a lot throughout the season, just keeping that like in the back of my mind, I guess. Just doing the little things, coming to practice early, a lot of extra hitting work because that's where I was struggling a lot my sophomore year, and staying positive throughout the season. I mean, with the team we had last year and how successful we were, we built off each other a lot. So having so much success, it like almost helped us to keep succeeding. And a big thing was we were doing it for ourselves. We were doing it for each other. And I think that was a huge part of it. And those games at the end of our season, like in Northwestern and winning 1-0 and going to an Olympic field at the World Series was, I think, something none of us will ever forget. And it helps a lot this year knowing we can get back to that, and it pushes us even more to go even further. And we have the talent to do it again. So I think this year could be just as good or better.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. That's Alyssa Gauthier. We'll shoot aside to another senior, McKenzie Ming on the other end. Sean Masson now joined by senior catcher McKenzie Ming. McKenzie, let's talk about last season. You had one of the best slugging seasons in Madonna softball history with 20 doubles, 10 home runs en route to a giant season offensively. Kind of talk to me about how that felt as a player for your bat to have that different pop in it, to wake up and see all that work you put in just come into fruition.
I mean, I've never had as good of a hitting season as I did last year, and my goal was to just get better every single day, whether I put in time before or after practice. I was taking every rep seriously. I was working with coaches as much as I could, just really trying to make an effort to get better at practice every day, and it showed with the results in game and throughout the whole season.
And on top of that offensive firepower season, you also earned the Rawlings Gold Glove Award and solidified yourself as one of the best catchers in the country and the catcher to fear on the base paths. Kind of walk me through that feeling as a player it is to get that national honor.
Right. So first, I just want to thank God for leading me to where He has and giving me the abilities that I have. It was an honor to have received that award. I'm super proud and appreciative of it, and it's just going to make me work harder this year and keep my fire going for this season.
Thank you so much, McKenzie. We'll kick it aside back to the outfield with Reagan Finkbeiner. We slide on over to the other corner of the outfield with sophomore outfielder Reagan Finkbeiner. Reagan, let's talk about your freshman year. You hit .359 with 35 RBIs. You were one of 4 freshmen for Coach Pizzoni's team to earn all conference honors right away. Kind of talk to me about that impact, not only from a U perspective, but that entire group of freshmen to come in, have that impact, and be a big part of that success.
So coming in, all of us, all freshmen, were super nervous, but we were welcomed with open arms by the whole team, especially the upperclassmen. You know, being a freshman is kind of scary. You know, want people to like you, but the upperclassmen took us under their wing, and we weren't afraid to ask them questions. We went out there, and they helped guided us and gave us that confidence that we needed, just because we were all so close. And just watching them in practice. Off the field too, but in the practice sense, watching how hard they go and how they do it. I guess everything, all the little things right, but also still have fun the same way. It was just a different atmosphere than what I was ever expecting. And I'm just so thankful for all of them just coming in. It was just super, super comforting. And then even off the field, we're all so close. I mean, we hang out all the time. In the summer, we hang out. On the weekends, we hang out. We do things outside of softball. And I just feel like no other team has that like what we have. But for us freshmen, we all like had a little group, but we all learned to branch out and push each other. And I think it's almost like a competition out there. Like me and Faith out there, in my head, I don't think she knows this, but I'm keeping track of her catches. And I'm like, okay, I want to catch all of my balls too. So, but it's just nice having that competition, but like still super duper close friends like off the field. So.
And then talked about it right there. First team all-conference, a big freshman year. You were also a Rawlings Gold Glove winner at your position. Kind of talk to me about the confidence that instilled in you and what the offseason was like, knowing, hey, my freshman year was this, but I can be so much better.
Yeah, so, I mean, offseason took a break. Softball's a long season, but then I got right back into it with, like, personal stuff, getting stronger, working on hitting by myself. But coming into this year, I know it's a new year. Like, you don't know what to expect. Nothing's guaranteed. I just got to go out there with the same mentality I had last year, which is like not really knowing what to expect. Like, if you were to ask me if we're going to World Series last year, I'd be like, no, we're not. So nothing's guaranteed. Taking one thing at a time and just using my resources too. I have good upperclassmen, great upperclassmen actually. And they lead by not just like talking, but they lead by example. And I just think I got to absorb that all right now because they're going to be gone. And this next wave, like our sophomore class, is really like got to lead by example too, just like how Mason did. She was not a very vocal person, but on the field, she led by example. And I think that's a big part of it too. So
thank you so much. We got one more on the other end. We'll finish it off with the designated player who had a monster year in the offensive side in Jessica Dunkel. We round things off with Jessica Dunkel. Let's talk first about your freshman year. You start in the infield, postseason comes around, you move to the designated player spot, and that's where you were last year in your first team all-conference season. Kind of talk to me a little about that transition as a player and personally from the hot corner to really just stepping in the box and having a main focus offensively.
Yeah, that was a tough transition for me. Infield's always been a love of mine. I've traveled through the infield my whole career as just a softball player in general. So I was so thankful to get the opportunity to start at third base. I didn't think I would get that coming in as a freshman. And then unfortunately, just the way that the game works, people work hard, people get better. And I also hurt my knee, which was a big bummer for me. But at the end of the day, I'm just thankful that I was able to hold that spot in the DH, and I was very thankful to still be able to contribute to my team in such an interesting year. We worked so hard, but I feel like we always knew that we could push even harder, so I'm glad I could still be a part of that after my knee injury.
The last 2 years, 2 conference championships, and now a World Series appearance with a pretty nice run to cap it all off. Has that kind of changed anything for you guys as a group mentally, knowing now, hey, the WAC isn't just what we can accomplish. There's more in the national stage that we can uncover.
I think the beautiful thing about that is we all knew that we were better than that. Like my freshman year, like I said, we were kind of frustrated with how we performed, and we still won the WAC tournament, which is an amazing accomplishment. So just knowing that we are better than what we showed at first, and I think that we just all learned to realize that we are playing a softball game and we love this game. And I think we all come together as a family and we just play the game that we love. And I think that's why we are so successful. And that's why we love when things go wrong and we love when things go right, because we're here together and we're playing the game that we love, which is, I think it's opened all of our hearts to each other. And like I said, we're like a family here. So I think that there's no limits to what we can do. And I think we realized that, especially last year.
Thank you so much. That wraps up the preseason interview for Madonna Softball in 2025. Now that this is done, the only thing to do is get on the diamond and play softball. The countdown has begun to the 2025 season.